one of the weird things that we have, as you know, as Catholics and Christians in general, is the doctrine of original sin. I think it's a much more important doctrine than many people bear, and it's not basically a piece of muddled paleontology about Adam and apples, even snakes. It's basically, I think, a rather more fundamental spiritual claim, which I think is enormously rich, and it is this. We are the creatures for whom forgiveness is our access to being created.
Okay.
That defies.
Unpack that a little bit.
Well, it defies logic, because we tend to think of the world being, well, you were created, and then you fell, and then you needed forgiveness, then someone forgave you, and now you can go to heaven if you behave properly. Whereas what I want to say is, no, actually, we're always in the middle of something here. Creation is an ongoing process in which we find ourselves. We humans, having entered into symbolicity, are the ones for whom our access to being created, which is going to be something much bigger than we can know, passes through our being forgiven. Curiously, in our cases, forgiveness is prior to creation. And it's very weird, because...
So we're born with original sin that is already forgiven.
Of course, in a chronological sense, yes. But our access, because the whole point of the doctrine of original sin is that it's that which can be forgiven. The reminder is, wait a second, you aren't who you start off. You didn't really start off from here. You are something wonderful and good. And you are caught up in being less than yourselves. And you will be able to get out of that in as far as you learn to forgive each other.
Right. Sin as a way that is encumbering your happiness, as opposed to this terrible evil that's controlling you and that you need to fight against. It's saying, no, the point of this is joy and happiness.
Forgiveness is prior to sin. Sin is an ancillary notion, not a foundational notion. In other words, the definition of sin, properly speaking, is that from which you can be forgiven. How do you tell the difference between something being a sin, for instance, and something being a form of mental sickness or something like that? Well, a sin is that which can be forgiven. It's a fully human, but a degenerated human. Whereas something that's a form of mental sickness is not something that you can forgive or not forgive. It's something you need to learn how to help the person deal with.
Right. Yeah.
That's something quite different. And I think that's...
But there's also this understanding from God that, yeah, you are going to screw up. You are. It's okay. I love you.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's who you are. I think in the like, going back to that moment in my childhood when I pray, or when I try to pray, and I try to imagine, as far as one can, what God's relationship is to me, you know. And I wrote this in my book, Love Undetectable, which was, it's almost, for me, at that point in time when I suddenly found I could be dead and deported within a year, it's kind of a one of those moments in life where you just get knocked sideways and don't know quite where you are. And God's voice, and that's the word I would use, even though there were no words really, the tone, it's the tone really that I felt I absorbed from God. And then, I mean, that's how I experienced it. I'm not trying to argue anything except from what I understood happened to me.
I have a similar experience, so I'm entirely aware of these things.
And the tone was the following. It was, Andrew, don't worry. I've got you. You crazy person. You're completely lost. I know you've got all the, but I love you. Don't trust me. It was both kind of exasperated. God was exasperated by me. Yeah. But through the exasperation, there was this incredible commitment to me as a human being. And the moment when Jesus visits Martha and Mary, I've talked about this before in my is where he gets frustrated with Martha, because Martha's telling him to tell Mary to do this and that, and I'm busy doing this, and you've come here, and I blah, 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 blah. And he just goes, Martha, Martha, you fret and are anxious about so much. Just let it go. That's the tone of voice I hear, which is not, you evil person, get this out of your system now, or I will condemn you. It is, oh, why can't you just be your better self and trust me to help you be that?